let's take a quick break and talk about tooling. So we have two options for our Meteor Devtools, and this is one. This is the Meteor Devtools Evolved, and you can find this on the Chrome Web Store. So this is a newer version of Meteor Devtools. Apparently, it has 932 users, and you can tell it's been updated recently as of this recording. All right. It has stuff like letting you know what the DDP looks like. So DDP is the protocol that Meteor implements in order to be able to send what they call data on the wire instead of sending chunks of HTML or JavaScript via the connection that you set between the server and the client. What they do is just send updates with the newer data that has been changed on the database. And well, you can read more about that. But so you have access to looking at that, how that's communicating, the server and the client. Okay, and the original one is this Meteor Devtools. This has more than 7,000 users as of today, and you can see that the tools are pretty similar. You have a Blaze inspector in this case, you have a Minimongo explorer and things like that. We'll see it in action in a minute. This was updated in 2016, so it apparently made more sense to create another one instead of trying to take over the existing one. And I haven't really worked a lot with them, but what I can show you right now is what I have on the app that we're building. So this is the original Meteor Devtools, and you can see this is what we were talking about, DDP, the data over the wire protocol that Meteor implements. So it's basically all the messages that have been going back and forth between the server and the client. So you can see it's been connected. It knows that 3 items were added to Minimongo, to the in-memory version of the database. So here we go. It's talking about what happened, what collection was modified, and what was the ID for that particular document. We have the fields here, where we have the name and the price. This is what we set when we were inserting our documents and things like that. So I like this one because you can drill down for a lot of stuff. You can see, so these are the ping and pong messages, basically the checking on the health of the services. All right, so there's a ton of those, and there's a lot of data you can get out of this. You can also, like I mentioned, this is not going to find any sign of Blaze in this case because we're using Vue. But for that, we do have the Vue extension over here. Oh, let me go back. Then we have the Minimongo Explorer, and you can tell we have 3 documents, and each has 3 keys, meaning that it has an ID, a name, and a price. So I wanted to draw your attention to something. The bottom 2 have an underscore ID field right over here, and you can tell this is a random string, and these were inserted by Minimongo, right? So Minimongo and Minimongo 2 were the ones that we typed in the browser console, but not the same for the one that we inserted via the database itself. So on the Mongo shell, like we named it here, you notice that this is actually an object that has within it the underscore str key, which in turn has this hash that Mongo created. So there's a way for you to make Minimongo start inserting the same kind of format for the IDs. So these are object IDs. But the thing we're going to do is first clear the database, and then we're going to start fresh, inserting from the client so that we don't have this inconsistency over here. All right. That was just a quick heads up. And then we also have the security tab where you can see the packages that we have installed, the collections that exist in the application, and then the methods that we have available. So this is a really good segue into what we're going to do next. But just so you know, there's an insecure package and an auto-publish package, and they are also letting you know that these packages over here would make sense to be added. Yeah, we'll go through those, at least these two, in the meantime. But let's continue. So we have the collections, and we do have the items collection. And if we audit that, we get there's an insecure way of inserting. Remember, we could do that from the browser window, from all or any window. And it's probably not something we want in particular applications, especially if you have authentication going on. Something for update and remove. So anyone, everywhere can update, insert, and remove stuff, and that's not like a good idea. I guess this is why it's red. Then we have methods, which we haven't implemented, we haven't talked about them, but then we also have the recommendations for the guide. Awesome. And then we also have the new Meteor Devtools over here, which looks like this. You can tell we're looking into DDP as well here. There's the ping and pong. And so in this case, the top messages are the newer ones. You can tell the timestamps here, and the older ones will be over here. All right, we just cleared that. And then if we go to bookmarks, we don't have any. Minimongo, similar idea. We have the 4 different documents. Oh, I did probably insert something while I was checking out the other DevTools. Let's see here. Collections, Minimongo. Yeah, I somehow inserted a document, a new document, because you can tell it's over here. So going back here, we have the same thing, the documents in the collections. Okay, and we have subscriptions, which we haven't talked about yet. And a couple things here, the GitHub stats, the stars, the issues. Here's the about page that you can read. And there's also this link to the community, the Meteor community Slack. Okay, so I think I'll keep working with this one mainly because of what I mentioned, that you can drill down and do more, looks like more things over here. Okay,